we're going to try image compression. Image compression is technically one of the easier ones, but it is the hardest of the ones that I've made a recording for, okay? Not only does it have like this big chunk of stuff you gotta kind of skim through and figure out what's important and what's not, it's one of these ones where there's like a nested loop. Like notice it tells you how many chunks, and then as soon as it tells you how many chunks, like you've got this other number that's not actually something you're going to calculate. Like, hey, you're going to have 2 chunks. This first chunk has 5 things in it, and the second chunk has 6 things in it. So you actually have like a nested loop just to get the input. So what I'm going to do, what I did, you know, when I was actually trying to solve this, and I do admit I did get this wrong a couple times, and yeah, it's just a little trickier than some of the other ones. So make sure you've done some of the easier ones first, like AEIOU, color wheel, Fibonacci. Like there's a lot of really, really easy ones. And if it's codequest, save the harder, easier ones for later, like this. Maybe even try a couple of the easier mediums to see if you can get through it first. Because this one is a little bit tougher than some of the other ones, okay? Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to forget this number and forget this part and just pretend we have 5 things we need to crunch. And what we're going to crunch is we need to find the biggest number here, we need to find the smallest number here, and then we need to print out each number individually minus the smallest in the list divided by the biggest in the list minus the smallest in the list times the whole thing by 255. Okay? So we have to like read everything in and then do some crunching before we actually print something out. Okay, so let me show you how I attacked this, okay? So you can see here that I've got the basic boilerplate code for codequest, and I'm going to actually create an empty list called nums. Keep it simple, right? And what I'm going to do is as I get these lines in, I'm going to, and they are numbers, I'm going to push them into that array that we, sorry, not array, it's Python, list that we just have here. So I'm going to say nums.append, and that thing I just did there. Okay, and let's go ahead and right away, again, let's test it. Okay, see how, maybe put that actually in here, see if that works. So let's say I have 5 things, and I think the first input they have here is 0.0. And right away, it fails. That happened to me. And the reason why is because these are no longer integers. These are floats. These are decimals. So change this thing to a float, and let's hope this works a little better the second time. 5, 0.0. Notice it's like putting it in there. 25.0. It's pushing it in the list. 50.0, etc. Okay, I think we can tell that it's working. Okay, so next thing, you could write a little algorithm to find the biggest and smallest. Assume we got this whole list in there, okay? We got all the numbers in there. There are algorithms where you can use for loops and like figure out the biggest, but remember, time is of the essence. Python has, and C++ has this too, it has a bunch of like built-in functions to help us with this stuff. There's actually a function called max and min, and we're just going to use those instead of writing our own max-min algorithms right now. So I'm going to create a new variable called maxNum. Don't call it max because that's the name of the function. Okay, and not nax. Okay, there we go. And then I've got minNum is minNums. Okay, so these built-in functions, you don't even have to import anything, or just like built into Python, it'll find the biggest number in a list and the smallest number in a list. Okay, so then all I need to do is just like implement this formula here. Okay. Output is input minus min. It's not that bad. Remember, don't get scared of math and computer science because the computer does the math for you, okay? So let's go ahead and print. I'm just going to put it directly in a print statement, okay? So I'm going to take the number I'm looking at, so I'm going to go through each list and just do each, and because I'm going through a list, let's do it in a for loop. So for I in range, the length of our list. So for each number in this list, we're going to look at the number we have. So nums slot I, okay? and I'm just applying the formula, minus the min num, whatever that is. Okay, and we're going to divide that by the max num minus the min num. And then we're going to multiply the whole thing by 255. Okay, and I'm going to mess up my parentheses somehow. I think I have one extra one there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're not done yet, but I think this is a good checkpoint. Let's see how close we are. Okay, so clear this out. So let's say I've got 5 numbers, 0.0, 25.0, 50.0, 75.0, 100.0. Oh, it's mad. It says line 11. Oh, because I've called it nums, not num. My bad. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's clear this out. All right, one more time. We got 5 things, 0.0, 25.0, 50.0, 75.0, and 100.0. Okay. Alright, so this is looking pretty good, but the only problem now is that they want these things rounded. So if you take a look here, I'm getting, instead of 64, I'm getting 63.7, 127.5. So I'm really close. And again, let's not do this ourselves. There is a built-in function in Python called round that will literally round for us. Okay, so I'm just going to round these numbers now. Okay, one last time. Let's say we got 5 things. 50.0, 75.0, and 100.0. And now, if you take a look here, it does actually match at least with the first chunk of stuff I'm supposed to get. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take into account, like, now let's deal with the fact that it's not just 5 followed by 5 inputs, it's 2 followed by 5 with 5 inputs, and then 6 with 6 inputs. So I need another loop to handle this. So I'm going to basically just do this thing over again, okay? I'm going to kind of repeat that boilerplate code that, I'm going to repeat this boilerplate code that is grabbing cases, and I'm just going to keep it simple and say cases2 is int input.rstrip. Probably could have just copy pasted that, okay? And then I'm going to have another for loop just like the other one for j this time, running with cases2, and then I'm just going to tab all this over so we do it twice. Okay? One last problem with this, and this is one of the reasons I got this wrong. Once you do this, you have to clear out this list. You have to clear out nums, because otherwise it's going to keep pushing things in there, and you'll have twice as much input for this output for the second chunk. So, and I actually cleared it out in the wrong spot. This right here, it's at the, like, after you get this second chunk, this is where you need to clear it out. So nums.clear, what we're doing is we're erasing, I mean, yes, we erase it right away before we even get anything, but we're erasing, after we run this the first time, we loop back up here, we erase all the stuff from the first chunk, then we go through it a second time. So let's see if I got everything this time. So now I'm going to do the full data set. So I'm not just doing these guys. I'm going to do the whole thing and see if it matches. So starting with the 2, then the 5, then all this other stuff. All right, let's see how close I got. I did get this to be solved. Let's see if it's close enough again. All right, so here we go. So there's going to be 2 sets of data. The first set of data has 5 things in it, 0.0, 25.0, 50.0, 75.0, 100.0. Okay, that is matching still. Here's the part that, let's see if we got it. Now we're going to put in a 6. Okay, so far so good. We're going to say 12.3. We're going to say negative 67.1, 122.8, 428.4, negative 15.9, 221.0. And just like them, we're getting 41, 0, 98, 255, 26, 148. Cool. Okay, so this does appear to be working. I did get it working in the system. Hopefully you do too. Definitely call me over. It's not like that bad. It's only like 15 lines of code, but it did, especially with this nested for loop and the fact we're using these functions we don't use. They're easy to understand, but you do need to. We should get a list of all the helpful functions in case they pop up like this. So max, min, round, those are all really good things to know. You should hopefully already know clear and append from the stuff we've done in class with those functions. Yeah, this was just, it took me a little longer than the other ones, and it's kind of intimidating with all the stuff to do, but it is doable. I would just do these after, this style, after you get through the first really easy ones. Okay, good luck.